Okay, Chief Frober, we have a swearing in.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Members of the council and City Administrator Amy Finch and people of the audience, I'm very pleased to introduce you to our Crookston's new full-time firefighter, Garrett Bankston. Garrett was just hired as a full-timer just this in December here, and he just finished his very first shift. He's been on the paid on call department for about 3.5 years and has been doing a great job. Really looking forward to working with him, and so are the rest of the full-time guys. The fire service is full of a lot of traditions, and this is one of the traditions that has probably gotten away from us is swearing in of firefighters. There is a lot of traditions that we can't do for whatever kinds of reasons, but this is one that I've talked with some of our other full-time guys, and they kind of want to bring this back in because it is an honor and to be one of the full-time firemen and work for the city. And because of the high level of public trust there is in firefighters, and I think it's very important to do this. So I'm very excited to have Garrett here to start this tradition, and I hope it gets carried out for years to come, and I'm very excited for the fire department besides. So Garrett, if you want to just stand out here, please, and raise your right hand. And repeat after me, please. I, Garrett Bankston, promise that I will humbly serve all citizens of Crookston with urgent response to their crisis. With compassion, sincerity, concern, patience, kindness, and respect.
With compassion, sincerity, concern, patience, kindness, and respect.
I promise that I will at all times conduct myself in a manner that reflects positively on the fire department and the city of Crookston.
I promise that I will at all times conduct myself in a manner that reflects positively on the fire department and the city of Crookston.
As a career firefighter, I promise to follow the policies of the fire department, uphold the laws of our state and nation, and the ordinances of the city of Crookston.
As a career firefighter, I promise to follow the policies of the fire department, uphold the laws of our state and nation, and the ordinances of the city of Crookston.
And that I will faithfully discharge my duties to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
I will faithfully discharge my duties to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
Thank you very much, and congratulations.
All right, thanks, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Ashley, can I have roll call, please?
Cavalier,
Here.
Kressel,
Here.
Platt,
Here.
Bedbratton,
Here.
Melby, He's here, but he's muted. Okay. Jurdy,
Here.
Erickson,
Here.
Briggs.
Here. Okay, it's time for the open forum. If anyone would like to address the council on any issue not already on tonight's agenda, you come to the podium, state your first and last name and address, please. Hearing none from council chambers. Chad, anybody on the phone bridge, please?
No, Your Honor. I will close the bridge.
Thank you. All right, no presentations. This brings us to the agenda.
Logged off.
Does anyone wish to add or remove anything from tonight's agenda?
Your Honor, under the regular agenda, if we could remove items 9.06 and 9.07 due to having to cancel the closed special council meeting for the absence of a council member.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. We have a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Clayton. Discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Vedbrotten,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs.
Aye.
Okay, this brings us to the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Can I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Joe. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Don. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Vedbrotten,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs.
Aye.
Okay, no public hearings. Regular agenda. Ashley.
Yes, Your Honor. Item 9.01 is the second and final reading of Chapter 71, entitled Traffic Rules by adding the definition of utility task vehicles. The corrections that were made was under this ordinance was as followed. 71.40G changed 3rd Avenue South to Southwest, and 71.30K was changed to 71.40K. And under that 71.40K, Section 4 was changed to Section 2, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ashley. Do I have a motion to approve?
It's already been approved.
Oops, sorry. Discussion. Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
So moved.
Cavalier.
What? Aye. We're voting.
Crystal.
Aye.
Wait, it's already been first and second, so you've already done that at the
At
previous
first.
meeting.
Yep.
So,
Oh, sorry.
so that's just for roll call.
I gotta wake up.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Clad,
Aye.
Vedbrotten,
Aye.
Melby,
Want the second reading?
Melby,
He's on mute.
Aye.
okay. Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Moving on.
Item 9.02 is a resolution to approve the facilities assessment consultant selection, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Don. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Christie. Discussion. Amy, you got a little brief on this?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We have discussed primarily during some of our budget discussions about wanting to get a facilities assessment that would help us with like a master plan or capital improvement plan for our facilities, the aging and needs of our HVAC, our boilers, our roofs, all of those things. So we did seek and we sought 2 proposals, one from SEH. They're a firm that is currently, they're an engineering firm. Both our SEH currently serves as our airport consultant and does our levy inspections. And we asked for a recommendation from, I'm not going to say the name right.
JLG. The JLG.
Yeah,
Yes, that was yes. JLG is the other professional engineering firm that submitted a proposal to us. SEH did come in with a lower bid at $54,000. We asked both of the firms to not include initially a structural engineer. That would have increased the cost significantly if we had a structural engineer looking at all of our facilities. However, we asked them if they noticed something, such as a foundation issue, that they would be able to then call a structural engineer and to look at that specific item. Tom, did you have a question?
Yeah, are they gonna come in now and say, take a look at the building and say, okay, you need a roof, you need a furnace, you need plumbing, and then give us some sort of a idea on a price of what it's gonna cost to fix that building, so that when we bond for it or something, we can say, okay, we need X amount of dollars, or?
That is exactly the reason we've asked them to do that. It's going to be difficult for us to propose, one, a priority list, and budget, funding, financing to the council for recommendation without gathering that data. Each firm was asked when they were putting their proposal together, to be prepared to help us prioritize those things. An immediate list, a short-term needs list, and then a long-term needs list. And throughout that, they will help us prioritize which of those are higher priority items, so that we can then begin discussions on what's the data, how much do we want to do? Is it a bonding issue? Is it something for parts of it that we should be reserving for a couple of years, depending on what the results are?
Is there something that we'd have to have done in order to get a bond for it?
You don't have to have it done, but you do need to know what your needs are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, you don't have to have an engineer do a facilities assessment in order to bond, but we do need a way to gather the information and understand what all of our priority needs are in order to start having those types of discussions about how much of the list does staff and the city council believe is an immediate need, how far can we go, is it a bond issue, is it reserves, and we just don't know that yet without knowing what the results of that facility assessment will come out to be.
How do they, so you guys would give them the list of everything that needs to be gone through?
We have already done that. We maintain a list of our city buildings and facilities for our insurance purposes, and some of those are small sheds and those types of things. We have excluded those and asked them both of them to look at the same set of facilities. Mr. Hefta, he's not able to be here with us tonight, but he helped facilitate that, did a walkthrough. So they could go, the walkthrough was no cost to us from either firm, but they wanted to make sure they could see and understand the facilities we asked them to look at to really give us a solid proposal. So it's staff's recommendation to award that proposal to SEH. They came in with the lower bid. We do have an existing relationship with that engineering firm. They've provided very good customer service for us on both our airport and our levee inspections.
How is it that, let's just pretend a building needs a roof?
Mm-hmm.
So do they contact their own, or how does that work?
You mean a contractor to make a repair?
Or to get estimates or whatever
How they will develop estimates, I'm not sure. I don't know that they'll be calling in additional contractors. I don't think so. They have a team that they'll bring to do that.
okay.
And then it would be up to the city then to determine. It's really just gathering of data for us, and it will be up to the city and the city council then to determine how much, at what rate, financing from that data that's gathered.
So we would have to find our own contractors and,
Right, yeah. And some of those projects we may be required to go out and get some competitive bids depending on the size of the project, or if we want to lump some things together, and we just won't know that yet.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
Further discussion.
When you do these bids, just for curious, how do you send that out? Send it out to
We actually,
Vegas, Minnesota, or?
we requested both of these firms directly to prepare quotes for us in this particular case.
Anything else? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Klatt,
hi,
Bed Broughton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 9.03 is a resolution to approve a dance permit for the University of Minnesota Crookston it's not the homecoming, it's the Egorama on the premises of the Eagles, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Joe and Tom?
Joe, okay?
One or either way.
Joe and then Tom second. Are you okay with that?
That's fine.
Okay.
Discussion.
so is this the same thing that we talked about last September of somebody doing something at the Crookston Inn?
The dance permit, yes, yeah.
So,
And at that time, did you say this is something we gotta look at to?
It
so we
is,
don't-
yeah. It's on our list. There's several ordinances, especially as they pertain to some of the alcohol that need to be looked at kind of as a group, and that is included in that, yes.
Okay.
It's a bit outdated.
I was
so-
just gonna ask the same question, because
Yeah.
if they have an alcohol permit and they're getting paid to hold this event or sponsoring it or however they're gonna do, I don't know why it has to come to this point, but.
Yeah, well, right now, because that is how our ordinance is written, we want to make sure we are abiding by that and adhering to it. However, we do recognize that it's a bit outdated, and we think we can do a better job as we work through some of those other ordinances, especially as it pertains to our liquor ordinances.
So between now and whenever we get this organized, what do people do if they're gonna go on the website? Because there's a lot of questions out there, you know, different events that we've had, till we get this fixed, because it could take some time. I was just looking like for, the, fishing tournament or whatever. I mean,
Buster Days.
You know, it's like, it's so complex to understand that, you know, to say, what do I need? You know, it's like, if it's in a facility that's got a liquor license, it's in their facility, they're paying for the stuff, but it doesn't really say anything in there. So like I said, I don't wanna lose events in Crookston because it's gonna take us a while to get the thing, you know, I mean, I think somebody should be able to go on the website, understand if they need a permit or they don't need a permit. I think we really need to put that on the top burner about having things, because I mean, that's what we want, is events in Crookston. I think we need to speed as much as we can to get this easy to read and understand, and so people can get the necessary stuff to have their event.
But wasn't this also the reason we have it is for law enforcement, so they know how many,
To be aware.
you know, police officers or, you help me out here, Paul?
And it's also public too. If it was a private event, we don't get involved with it.
While Chief Biermeyer is walking up,
Open it.
we do agree, Steve, one, our website is about to be revamped. That was part of our 2022 budget, but that just takes a little bit of time for implementation and getting that set up. Secondly, some of the liquor laws that we are required to follow are written at the state level, and they are a bit confusing, they are. So we encourage anyone, we do not expect each city council member to be an expert on the liquor laws. I mean, Ashley and I spend a lot of time doing that. Please, if you get a question, direct them to us, and we would be happy to. We have some cheat sheets to provide, and we can kind of step them through that. Some of the state requirements and permits are a bit confusing to walk through, and we are available at any time to help someone make sure they're covered and what type of event they're having.
That's my other question, is like, so if we have it, does every event have to come to City Hall? That it's, if it's public, I guess, so to speak, because I understand you want law enforcement, fire, whatever, you know, but it's like, it really doesn't specify or say, oh, I'm having an event. You know, I don't think a lot of people would say, oh, I gotta go to City Hall to find out if I can have it or not.
I would be hesitant to say that every event needs a permit, but it really kind of depends on some of the specifics of your event. If you're serving alcohol, there are certain requirements. If you're having a caterer, if you are doing a community festival, there are some different routes you can take. So in order for us to best guide that, it's helpful as we begin to gather that information. Is it a public event? Is it inside of a venue that's licensed? Those types of things, and then we can kind of help walk through directions. Some of that does not need to come to council for approval. Some of it does, like a community festival does. Ashley and I just attended a training. I don't remember what month that was in, but they gave us a nice cheat sheet that we're able to help use and educate and answer questions with also.
So like now, say with, like you said, with Ice Buster Days, okay, they're gonna have that out at the Crookston Inn. Their liquor license will cover the liquor. Do they have to have a permit to have the event itself?
Is it a public? Is it open to any member of the public?
As far as I know, they buy a ticket.
So,
for raffles
not a
and stuff.
dance, they're just having an event inside of, no, we don't require a permit for someone to have a wedding at the Crookston Inn. We don't require a permit for the Eagles to host the theater.
But it's
So-
like a 2-day event. They have fishing on the river, and they have different events throughout the city and that kind of stuff, so that's why.
To my knowledge, I know Ashley kind of went through some checklists today, there's nothing within that event that triggers a permit under our current ordinances.
Amy, I think it might be helpful as we're revamping the website to maybe have like a frequently asked questions, or even maybe like a decision tree to a point, like if it's public, or if it's this, or if it's that, then please contact the city for more information about a permit. If it's private, if it's, you know, held at a, you know, whatever, that might be a good way for us to kind of at least streamline that process to start. And then it can also encourage the conversation at City Hall if there is by chance a permit that's needed. And I know that you guys are working on that already, but that might be a helpful piece going forward.
Okay.
Anything to add, Paul? please.
I was just going to ask, do you still need me to comment?
I would like some clarification what your thoughts are.
Well, to your question, yeah, it does help law enforcement to know when certain events are taking place, but I have to, in reading through the ordinance, or various ones, dances in particular, public dances, need to go through this process because of the way the ordinances were written. I'm thinking way back when there was a public dance, several hundred people would show up. And I mean, we're going back, 50, 60 years, 70 years probably, something like that, where dancing was a bigger deal than it is today. And so you get 300-400 people to show up. Law enforcement was needed there more so than they are today. Now we don't see the numbers. And then our facilities like this one at the Eagles, they've hosted so many, they know what they're doing, they know how to handle the crowd, they know how to deal with it, and they can see when, and not just the Eagles, the other ones too, they can see when there's an issue starting to happen when they need to call for the police if we're not there. Some of the other things that were just mentioned, absolutely right on track from what I read, but keep in mind this whole event permit thing needs to be updated because things have changed from the last 50, 60 years, including ADA compliance for events. For certain size events. We need to know more about if people, on the fire side of things. There's a lot of new questions and things, but by and large though, my goal is this, or our goal together, I think, is to make it a lot more simple than it is now. Easier to understand, a nice sheet or sheets for people to check boxes and then send it in, turn it in, that kind of thing.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay. That was my report too. No, I'm kidding.
Is there a timeline for when they have to have their permit in, like a week before the event, or 2-3 weeks, or what is it?
I would have to look to see if our ordinance
It just
specifies.
depends, like whether if you're doing a permit for fireworks or if you're doing, each one of them have a different timeline. The biggest thing is just making sure it gets, if it's something that has to go before council, you need to have that timeline because we only meet twice a month. And so that's the big issue that a lot of events have is like when to be able to call in. And like Amy said, we're always available because there's a lot of different events and everyone is different for
So
us
if
to
you're
go.
gonna have an event, the best thing you could do is get it in before the council meeting.
We would, as we're discussing, we have actually started working on like the special event permit so that it can be condensed and then we can branch off if it requires, if there's alcohol involved, so we can help through that. We've thrown around 30 days, 21 days, because there are some months where there's 3 weeks between a council meeting, so trying to make sure that we set a timeline that gives staff enough time to work through the application, answer questions, give guidance, and enough time to review the application and get it on an agenda. If we got it on a Thursday afternoon and had to get it on Monday, we may or may not have been able to prepare enough to answer questions for you or provide guidance. We're trying to work that out to make sure it's not too long, but long enough that it would catch even those months where there's 3 weeks in between some of our meetings.
All right, further discussion. Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Bed Broughton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 9.04 is a resolution to approve the request of the subordination by Jeff Everts, the 4-nay.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make a motion, Your Honor.
Don,
Don and Clayton. Thank you. Discussion. A little update on
Yeah.
this, Amy?
Your Honor, I will just provide a brief update, especially for anyone that maybe didn't catch our last Ways and Means Committee meeting. This subject was discussed at the Ways and Means Committee. As a reminder to council and the public, it was agreed by consensus to move this forward to agree to the subordination. What that means is that the city's loan will remain in second position. So legally, you're in the same standing. What may change is the debt in front. In first position may be increased slightly. Staff did go ahead and prepare the resolution for you to approve that subordination. City attorney's working with the credit union to get the agreement going, so that can be executed, I believe, February 1st? Okay, yeah.
So this is just, it's still, if this goes through, then we're done with it, they just do the paperwork?
Yes, the resolution authorizes then the execution of that document.
Thank you. Further discussion? Nothing to add on this, Corky, or?
No, we're negotiating, well, we've got the negotiation done, we're waiting for the credit union to draft the documents. This would authorize you to sign the documents, the terms have already been agreed to. For those of you who were at the CHEA meeting, it's identical, and it'll allow the Fournier Building project to continue.
Okay, thank you, Corky. Any other discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Bud Brunton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 9.05 is a resolution to authorize the allocation of ARPA, ARPA funds for the sewer lift station control system improvements, Your Honor.
Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved, Your Honor.
Oh,
Got
wait.
Wayne and Clayton. Thank you. Discussion. Brandon, would you like to give us a little update on this, please? I read it, but I'd have to read it 3 times. You can explain it.
So this is similar to the control panel upgrade that we did with the water department, I don't know, 5-10 years ago. It's been a while, but so the lift stations are still self-contained. Each station has its own controller, and each station has its own call out, and it calls out on a pretty limited alarm system. So this'll, we actually had one of the controllers fail in lift station 2 about a week ago. And all these controllers they were originally built out of a mom and pop shop out of Minneapolis that they don't make them anymore. So, this'll take us from 1950 to 2022, basically. So, if we move forward, we're gonna tie it into the same system that the water department uses as far as software. So, those software fees are typically, $5,000 to $10,000 annually. So piggybacking on that, we'll save that. And we've moved the water and sewer department closer together now. So it just kind of makes sense to piggyback everything together. You're taking, taking these panels and putting them on a SCADA essentially gives them a brain. So right now the controller knows that the pump's working, it's not. It can't tell when the pump's getting plugged. And so, you can, with the SCADA, it can trend everything. So if you can see that the pump is supposed to be pumping 500 gallons a minute and it's only pumping 200 gallons a minute, you know that you got a pump that's half plugged and you should fix it before it's 100% plugged and you start backing up houses. So these panels were upgraded or adapted probably 15 or 20 years ago. So this is all new controls, the boxes and everything. So every relay, every PLC will be brand new.
Brandon, can I jump in real quick? This project was actually presented to you in the budget in the wastewater department's CIP, planned to be used out of ARPA funds. We did not plan the failure of these controls at this time, but after Brandon evaluated, it really was not cost efficient to try to repair this one when he's already received bids and was ready to move forward. So I wanted to just explain to you the timing of that and why you're seeing that before you now.
I started this before putting this plan together before ARPA was even out there. I was kind of going to phase it in with the do lift stations and then work into the other 7 stations. But this is one item that's clearly spelled out in the qualifying ARPA funds for SCADA improvements and control panel replacements, so.
So this all these funds will come out of there, the whole 311,000?
Yep.
And then why is it, I'm just curious, lifts 1, 2, 3, and 4 are 33,000, and lifts number 10, 11 are 3,000, is this because they're so much newer and updated?
Yes, so the lift station, the cheaper ones already have PLCs. So they're basically set up. We just need to get them. We need to get a cellular modem in there and the programming in the ignition operating software. So basically, all we got to do is get it talking to the computer.
Basically, this would be a cell phone to yourself and who's ever on call, and
Yep.
basically, so you'd all have access to this, and that's including in this 311,000.
Yep. And it'll be, it's right now they get an alarm and, let's just say the controller goes into fault mode and either pump will run. They can go on their phone with this and start the second. There's 2 pumps in each lift station, so they'd be able to tell it to ignore the alarm lockout, and they would be able to get the pump to start running before they even left their house.
Okay, thank you, Brandon.
Yep.
Further discussion?
Brandon, what's the timeframe on this, or life of this stuff? 15 years, 10 years?
15 to 20.
15, 20?
And that's mostly just, the relays and stuff, I've probably a little bit longer. That's the life of the PLC, which is the computer.
Anything else? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Ved Brunton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Reports, Amy.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple things. One, I think Garrett slipped out on us, but congratulations to Garrett Bankston and welcome to the city. Thank you for being here tonight for your swearing in. And we had a really interesting discussion this morning, or this afternoon, on some renewable energy that we're gonna try to learn a little bit more about, and maybe bringing something before you at a later time, but it's kind of exciting to be talking about new things and new ways to serve the community, provide power, provide consistency. So those discussions will be ongoing, and as they develop, we may be bringing some things before you. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Amy.
Oh,
Oops, do you want to do Greg?
I think, yes, before we
Okay,
forget.
yep.
Mr. Hefta cannot be here with us tonight, but he did provide a report. I'm going to read some things, and I don't know what all these mean, so if you have a question, I will have him answer them for you. Greg reported from the building department. He submitted the fourth quarter building permit surcharge report for 2021 to the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry. He attended a University of Minnesota continuing education earlier this month to include design principles of the 2020 building code, HVAC, concrete, truss design, and means of egress. Researching requirements for an unloading and containment requirements for an industrial design future submittal. Looked at occupancy restroom requirements for a potential business. And the following update for the addition of the new Flyer building, building structural steel 60% complete, and columns, girts, and purlins, and exterior shell in progress. And that concludes the report from the building department.
Okay, thank you. Robert, since you're standing, have a report for us, please.
Your Honor, thank you very much for acknowledging that the ability to stand is qualifications to speak to this august body. I want you to immediately lower your expectations. y'all know that we've had 2 Cheetah board meetings within 2 weeks. And so just to recap real quick what's going on over there, we've been working on the collateralization of the loan with Epitome Energy. We also considered the subordination of debt for Mr. Evers. And by the way, how nice it was to have y'all there and how easy it was to work with us, just for the record. You also know that we're reviewing past loans and making some minor progress on on that project. It's going to be a little bit longer than we thought. We awarded architectural and engineering services for the roofing and fire alarms to MJ Burns. And something that will make most of us in this room feel better, those things which are old are becoming popular again for reasons that I cannot explain. I've started getting phone calls about this old high school over here and a couple of the other older buildings in town. I don't know where they're going to go. They were just generalized conversations, but oh my heavens, after sitting there for as many years as they sat there, it's almost like somebody drove by them one day and the sun hit them just right and they saw them and they said, oh, look, we can use this. We'll see. Also, housing and housing rehab is a reoccurring conversation. It comes from many different directions, from any number of people. I don't know where that conversation is going either, but just want you to know that that is something that is absolutely on the radar. We need good housing stock in Crookston, and we're going to have our ear to the ground and find the path that will get us the best results. And it's also a good report that we're working with the Small Business Development Center on a new business that may be coming to town that may be of a sizable report if things work out and if it ever comes to fruition. And with that, I am done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fill us in then, Paul? You good?
I'm good.
Nothing else to add?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Tim?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple quick items here. I'd like to thank Councilman Briggs for being our 2021-2022 first hydrant hero, the man who's cleaned up probably a dozen or more hydrants after every snowfall, so.
He's retired.
That might have a lot to do with it, but we do appreciate it. No, thanks again, Clayton. It's greatly appreciated, and we'll be going out and awarding somebody else here real soon, so. And then just a reminder to our safety committee, we have a meeting tomorrow morning at 8:15, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim. Ryan?
Not too much tonight, Your Honor. We did complete our insurance audit and review with Bonnie Isaacson. This year, we actually had Brandon sit in on that because for our portfolio, she has pictures of all these little garden sheds and shacks and all that stuff to which the city pays insurance on to see if it's worth this or that or what it costs to replace those items. So there was a little adjustment that she did with that. So insurance didn't go up too much at all by doing all those things. Working now, the League of Minnesota sent out their final rulings with this ARPA funds, and been watching a few of those webinars, learning more of those details and stuff. The first reporting that we will end up doing for that will still be in April because it's based upon the population and the amount of money that we received as a city. We'll still get our second payment though, probably in April or May now of this year. And then helping Brandon with what he needed for his, that it falls under those guidelines. And that'll be the first thing that we will be reporting on that. Everyone should have their W-2s, 1099s. I know that Kathy is working on that, and we should have those out hopefully here soon too. Other than that, that's about all that I have.
Okay, thank you. Chad, do you have anything?
Just a few items, Your Honor. Thank you. Network wiring was completed up at the Sports Center, and we are installing a cellular booster, which will greatly help out UMC in their area of the CSC. We are 1 week away from our Office 365 migration, and I'll be sending out some more information about that and how you will all be able to access the new system. And we have the kickoff meeting this week for our new website design. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Jake, you have anything to add tonight?
Thank you. Just so everyone knows, here's a pool update. We will be reopening the pool this Wednesday, after a long time. But yeah, the pool will be open January 26th. We will have some we'll start with lap swim from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then we'll do an aqua swim from 9 to 10. And then we'll have open swim in the evening from 6 to 8 p.m. And then we'll have an open lap swim from 8 to 9. So those are the hours as of right now. And then you may find the schedule on the Crookston Pool website. So it's just www.crookstonpool.com. And our pool supervisor updates that schedule. So that's where you can find that. And if you have any questions too, you can always call Park and Rec office and ask for me. So Parks crew, they just continue to remove snow. Seems like lately it's been, you move it and then 10 minutes later it's blown back in because the wind's been, blowing so hard. But they're keeping up, they're doing a good job. They also fixed, there was a couple sections at the pool, we had to go in and we just fixed some tile. I was in there this morning, and they were not complete with it yet, so I'll go in there tomorrow morning and check it out, but they were just finishing up, so the pool should be ready to go. And they're starting to prepare for kind of your spring, summer. They're going through equipment right now, ordering materials that they may need, and just checking, doing oil changes and checking tires and stuff like that. So getting ready for that. On our side, Park and Rec in the office, still getting ready for summer. Ordering right now, just going through equipment, ordering youth activities, equipment and uniforms. And then we're planning for some projects this summer. And right now we are currently working with Active Network. It's going to be our new software program for Park and Rec. For the next 8 to 10 weeks, myself, Chad, Andrea, and then Ryan and Kathy will have some meetings on Wednesdays. It's to go through the whole software program, learn how to use it, and we had our first meeting last week and it went over quite well. Chad, if you have anything to add on that, I think it went over really well. So
No, I agree. It went very well.
and then I know it's January, but I did post summer jobs on our Facebook page today. I just want to get the word out there that we are starting to look for applicants. We got a lot of coaches that we need, umpires, not kids in the park, sorry, that's club kid, instructors and lifeguards, and we just need a lot of help, and a lot of summer jobs are available. So for any of you listening, if you are looking for a fun, great atmosphere and a fun job, come talk to me or and I can get you all the information you need. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. Anything more? Anything else to add, Brandon?
So the water treatment plant, they finished the first filter, got it bacteria sampled, it passed, and so they're running on the new filter and media now, and they blasted the second, and they're hoping to be hopefully out of here by middle of next month is their hopes. Snow, everybody knows that story. It slowed down a little bit. We're doing some preventative stuff. The heavy blow areas with big berms, we're either hauling out, or if we own the property next to it, we're blowing it out into the parks or whatever, so that when it blows, we don't hopefully have a 6-foot drift across the road. That's about all I got today.
Okay, thanks, Brandon. Okay, so I don't forget, Wayne, anything tonight?
No report tonight there, Mayor.
Thanks, Wayne. Warmer down there than here?
Yeah, it was 45 here today, so quite a
Balmy.
bit nicer. It's
Okay.
like March.
Thanks, Wayne. Christie.
I don't have a lot to report. The Parks and Rec meeting was canceled for this month, so, yep,
That's okay. Thank you.
yeah.
Steve?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you. Clayton?
Just like to welcome Garrett Bankston to the Crookston Fire Department. I think he'll be a great access. That's it.
All right, thank you. Don?
I have a quick update on the Chamber of Commerce. They elected their new chairman of the chamber, Carrie Berquist from Riverview, and their treasurer was Dana Johnson, First Commercial Credit Union. And they're going to be requesting a meeting with our city administrator in the future, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. Joe, anything?
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Delane?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you. Tom?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Sweet. Ashley's got a little item here to add tonight.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to send my condolences to Joy Thompson and her family. She was a longtime election judge and she passed away, so I just wanted to send my condolences to her family because she will be missed. So
Thank
I've
you.
worked with her the last 2 elections, so
Learned a lot then.
yes.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you, Ashley. Well, I'm kind of in the same boat as council. I don't have much to report neither. Just, watch the brutal weather tomorrow, dress for it. Get cold, get indoors, especially our street crew. So, just a reminder, there'll be a Ways and Means tonight, so nothing else to become before council. We are adjourned. Thank you. I got quiet and I have to hurry. Okay, we have, one item tonight, discuss resources for public purpose. I guess I'll put that in Amy's court.
I will just kind of briefly run through the memo that I prepared. It is with the agenda packet. There was a request from a council member to discuss a recent letter that notified a private entity that the city was no longer able to provide snow removal, snow hauling, or garbage collection for a private entity as it falls outside of the public purpose test and outside of our policies and ordinances. Below that is just an excerpt from League of Minnesota Cities memo titled Public Purpose Expenditure that just talks a little bit about that and about that public purpose test, if you will. And then the rest I just was going to hand over for discussion by the members of the Ways and Means Committee. I'm available to answer any questions that you direct to me in your discussion.
Your Honor, is that city-owned building, isn't it?
No, sir.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Okay, I thought it was owned.
No.
by the
Just
city.
give them the strip in 70,000, right?
The 78,000 is the budgeted amount that is, that goes over annually.
Okay, and how long, from what I understand, we've been doing this for years as a in-house stipend to try and keep the stipend down some.
Well, let me respond to that. How long we've been doing it is unknown. I know at one time this particular entity did fall under the Parks and Rec Board. It no longer does. It's independently owned and operated with an independent board. And it is important to note that it may be keeping your monetary stipend down, but it is not really keeping your expenses down as we are sending staff, equipment over. And there is the additional concern that when we began educating and enforcing the downtown businesses of not being allowed to push snow into the street, that the city was then being required to haul off. That did cause some question and some pushback as to why we were not servicing the snow that was piled out from private entities into the street and providing the service for a private entity.
And with that being said, if they have to go out and hire somebody now to haul their garbage, and if they have to hire somebody to remove their snow, next fall, they're gonna come back and we gotta have more money for the stipend to run the senior center. And, you know, we can't just forget about our seniors either. We look at all the things we do for our youth, and this is part of the thing. We gotta supply stuff for our seniors too. So, I mean, which is gonna be more expensive for us, to give them more money or to do this here, what we've been doing for years?
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
So when we talk about this falling outside of like what is considered a private entity versus public, are we looking at that also for the money that we're also providing this private entity? Or how is the justification for giving the money in the first place and then further doing this? And I only ask this because I'm just wanting to make sure that, you know, again, we're not making exceptions to the rule, but we're actually following whatever we decide on how public funding should be utilized. So I'm just curious if we could have some discussion around that.
I don't know, again, when, Mr.
Wayne?
Melby?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Amy, if you're up. I'll wait my turn.
I'm not sure when it started. It was long before
time ago, yeah.
my time, but I am going to have to assume it was a council decision to provide levied dollars to support the operation of the senior center.
Does anyone know what the cost would be to remove, what it costs to remove the snow there and also to get garbage collected?
Garbage, I'm not sure. Our garbage policy does only allow for residential pickup, and so that was one of the issues there. I don't know for sure what the private or commercial garbage collection, and I also do not know what would be charged, and it may depend on the company and the size of the lot and such, to either clear the snow and or haul it away. I know the hauling.
Your Honor?
Yes, go ahead, Wayne.
Okay. as near as I can recall, when they were going through the budget process a few years back and trying to get the arena and trying to get it, so that the people of Crookston would support that. And for our programs for the youth, it was always, well, what are we doing for the seniors? And so that's when, the stipend started going for that. They are a 501c3, I believe that's the number. They're nonprofit. It's not privately owned. It's to a point it is, but it's owned more like as a community type thing. Nobody owns it, and it's nonprofit per se. So, I mean, I guess a lot of that, I know Amy, you had marked in there that they were doing restaurant stuff. I just got the report from last year, and I think that they netted like $600-700 for their business, for the restaurant. And the guitar lessons you talk about, those were free, and it's just a community thing. And I tell you what, as far as for the voters or constituents, I certainly would rather be on this side of saying, let's keep it, rather than being on the other side of saying, let's charge the seniors for their, for those two services. So I think it really is probably a lot less than you think. It'd be more if you were hiring it out. If you had someone come in and do it, than what it costs us when the city is running by there doing the alleyway and picking up garbages down there. I just think that we're scraping at nickels, and I just think it's a bad idea to mess up this policy.
I gotta agree with Wayne too. I just think, we fund the thing for our seniors. It's the only thing we have in Crookston for our seniors. And I think we're looking at pennies too on the dollar compared to, they go down the alley anyway to clean snow. So they got, what do you fit, 20 cars in that parking lot? It can't take it with a bulldozer 30 minutes. I mean, if you put a time frame on there, what it takes for us as funds for the city, it can't be, if they ask for $5,000 more to cover it, I don't think it would cost us $5,000 to do that throughout the year. I don't know, but I just think it's something we need to give to our seniors. And if we had multiple things and stuff for our seniors, I'd have to look at it, narrow it down. But this being the only facility for them to eat lunch, gathering, movie nights. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on down there. And I think it's something that we need to help as much as possible to fund this thing.
I don't disagree that there's some positives to the senior center, but I also want to make sure that we're aligning with what our policies and our ordinances say about how monies are made available, because I also don't want this to be a slippery route where other entities then try to ask for money with the justification that money's been given to this one nonprofit. What about, a church or something else, right? And so I'd like to see it a little bit more of a clarification as to how and when funding is being utilized in this regard, whether
go ahead.
Yeah, whether it's for kids' activities and park and rec or for a senior center. And I understand that when we're utilizing constituent dollars, that we have to be very careful about making sure that we're aligning and also providing services for the community at large. And so I'm just curious as to how this aligns and if there's other ways for us to meet the end goal of supporting our seniors in our community, but also making sure that either we're changing our policies and our ordinances, or that we're making sure that whatever we're doing to support the senior center is in aligning with what we currently have. So I'd like to know a little bit more about that and how we can have that done versus us just making an exception, because when you start to do that, then that becomes a slippery slope.
So, and I hear both sides, and I'm trying to figure out which, because I hear what Steve and Wayne are saying, and I tend to agree with those guys, and I also agree with what you're saying, Chrissy. Is it better than to add a line item on the stipend that we give them, and it's called snow removal, and say we give them X amount of dollars each year for that, and then is that a possibility? And that way we do two things. We're helping out the senior center, and then the other thing is we're doing it in a different way. We're still supporting the senior center by it's rather than just doing the snow removal that we're doing right now. we're taking care of them on the other side. Does that make sense to anybody, or?
Well, I think with your saying it's a stipend, then it's gonna go under her deal, saying, these people say, well, we're also nonprofit, we want a stipend. So you can't really call it that. I mean, you have to figure out where that fine line is, like she's asking what it is. I totally agree with, we need to support the senior center, and it is the only thing we have in town for them, and it's a very good group down there, and, but we gotta figure out, make sure that everything is covered.
That this is aligning with our policies and our
Yep.
ordinances. Yeah.
Yep.
So what does that mean, Amy?
Well, in short, our ordinances do not provide for private snow removal, snow hauling, and commercial or non-residential garbage collection.
But is it,
private?
well,
It
I'm
is
ju-
not, it's not public. I mean, the snow removal that we provide is on public sidewalks, city-owned parking lots, streets. So our ordinance do not provide for us to serve snow removal, snow clearing for a non-public, also known as city-owned, operated, street, parking lot, alleyway, sidewalk. And our garbage ordinance is residential.
So how does the stipend dollars each year get decided? They just come up with a estimate and they say this is what we're gonna need to operate for the next year?
I believe it's been flat for quite some time at the
I think-
78,000.
does that cover basically the insurance piece? I mean,
I think there's taxes, there's a bunch of that.
I think it's to support their operations. I would certainly think that one building is not paying $80,000 in taxes
But I
a
know
year.
there was a bunch of stuff on there with different things that they had on there. And when they presented that to us, I mean,
It is the council's purview to request a report back on how those dollars are spent, as you have discussed doing with other entities that funds are provided for.
I would like to see that, and possibly, since we don't wanna, the city's ordinance doesn't allow us to do this, and we wanna try to stay away from, I guess, one-off type of things for doing it for some and not for others.
but I know Christie mentioned about, other nonprofits like churches or whatever, it's kind of a slippery slope, I
But we
get
don't
that.
stipend them, do we?
No, but the whole deal is that the 70-some thousand that we allocate comes out of the park and rec fund.
Yep.
So,
So it's supporting the senior citizens in one way, and that's justification for that.
And it's
Piece of it, and that falls within the purview of what we should be providing.
Well, the thing is, I think most of us here agree we need to figure out a way to do their snow removal, I think, is what, I mean,
Brandon, you go in there, or you just pile it up on the backside of the building, and then time allows you haul it away, or how does that work?
Yeah, so there's a loader route, and I've been having the water guys help with that, so they've been cleaning the parking lots downtown with the skid steer. So I guess, I don't know that you're looking for my opinion, but I'm gonna give it.
How long does it take to
It depends on the snow. About an hour to push it up into a pile and clean up, the aprons and get it good and clean. And then I asked Zach when they hauled it out the other day. Do you remember what I told you, Amy? Was it 2 hours? I think it was about 2 hours to haul it out with 3 guys. It's with what we charge for equipment and what we would bill for an hourly wage. Each snow event, let's just assume that we hauled out each snow event, I was thinking it was like $350 per event. So, for me, when we make exceptions like this for special entities, I'm not saying that we don't support the senior citizens, but, when there's a lot of other organizations that do a lot of good things in town, and to me the dollar isn't the determining factor, I guess is the best way I can say it. You know, it might cost us another $2,000 a year to have a snow removal company come in and do the work. And I'm just throwing that number out there, but you know, it makes it hard for me to do my job when we make exceptions for certain entities, and then I have to justify it to other people. So that's just where I'm at.
Excuse me, it's not only snow removal, but they also are requesting garbage removal, so that would be some extra cost there. What do you
Yeah,
charge?
you know, I don't know how much garbage they have, you know.
I don't either, so.
You know, the larger garbage bag is $1 something, you know, the garbage is
$1.10.
$1.10.
I purchased them. I'm one of 20 residences, I think, that uses them.
So can I also ask,
Yes, I do.
for garbage that's being picked up, since we only do residential garbage, does that mean that they need to have somebody that dispose of their garbage privately? It doesn't get picked up if they purchase the bags?
It would not be eligible even in a bag. We kind of toss that around because it's not a residence. And even
Sure.
some of the apartment buildings, am I correct, Brandon, have to get private service?
Yep,
Is that right?
we don't pick up, and the apartment buildings have to have dumpsters, and, you know, I pay $50 a month for my dumpster, so that would give you a ballpark for what it would cost them for a dumpster.
Sure.
Amy, would you, be willing to sit down with their board and kind of iron out? You know, I know you put it till April somewhere, whatever it was, you know, we're not gonna change anything right now. Where you could sit down with their board and brainstorm about which way would work best and for both entities, so he's not under pressure, you're not under pressure.
Is it your guidance from this committee that we iron out continuing to do it, or provide a dollar amount? Because I'm not sure, we would probably ask for quotes and provide them to you to make that decision as a council.
I think that, as Brendan mentioned, that this is, continuing on the way it is not working, and it provides an additional pressure for them and justification. I would like to see, as you had mentioned earlier, that, you know, we'd look at the finances and what the need is, and then, you know, get some quotes on what possible, like a dumpster year-round, $50 a month or whatever would cost, and then what a snow removal would be, and get a couple of quotes out there and make some decisions about maybe upping a stipend to them versus us continuing to violate our own policies and procedures.
So I think what I'm hearing is if we ask the Senior Center, Golden Lake, CASA to come provide a reporting of how the funds are spent, maybe look at the last 2 years,
You know,
and then,
I see another slippery slope here too when we talk about that, okay? I look at, okay, we got ox cart events, we got this here ice fishing event. This summer, we took our city cruise, we went and poured a sidewalk over here for a child care center. We gotta stop all that then. If we're saying that this is a slippery slope to take their garbage and their snow removal, all this other stuff is too, because we're using public.
Tom, I don't think exactly you understand what I said, though. I'm not saying that we shouldn't support them financially. What I'm saying is that we need to stop violating our own policies.
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
I think that's very
We
different.
gotta stop using the city people to do any of this stuff.
Well, I
Mr.
don't
Van
necessarily
Brunt, is that-
believe
I
that,
don't-
and that's not
is
what's
that
being
really-
said.
Is that really a suggestion that you're making, or are
No,
you
I'm-
making a point?
I'm
Because
just making a
I
point.
personally don't think that's an idea that should be entertained by this committee or by the council to remove all support from public
I
events,
don't
but
think it should be.
Well, then
either, but
I
that's
don't
what
think we
that's what
should-
we're saying here is we can't.
I don't believe that's what
That's
is
not
being
the
said.
point, Tom.
I
So
mean, like
if I could,
If you spend your time and sit down with these guys and let them give you some bids, come back to us and say, hey, it's gonna cost them this much is what the bids they got. That gives us a number to say, yeah, we can adjust your budget for $8,000.
what I would like to do is invite the group to come report on their spending of the funds, and I think it's most appropriate that they provide bids in that discussion for us to talk about rather than me, because they're aware of this, of what they need.
I think so.
And then they can bring that as part of the report for the Ways and Means Committee to hear, and later the council to make a determination on, as you determine your levy.
Corky, is there any legality to this?
There is, in fact. the Crookston, the CASA, the Crookston Area Senior Association, Inc., is a nonprofit private corporation, non-public. In addition, Minnesota statute specifically addresses community centers and says a home rule charter city, which we are, may appropriate money to support facilities, and that may be done for a private, not-for-profit senior citizen center. The Minnesota law statute says appropriate money, not provide in-kind services, not make exceptions to the rules. That is the Minnesota statute specifically directed to this very issue that you're all discussing.
So it can only be money, Corky, is that what you're saying?
That's my reading of the statute. It doesn't say may provide in-kind services. It says may appropriate money.
Then that's what we should do, is have them give a report.
Yep, I
And ask
will,
them what it's gonna cost for those two.
I will
two,
reach
the
out.
garbage and the.
Yeah.
the
Have
snow
you had any
removal, and then
discussions with them, Amy, or
We
no?
can make a decision on that.
I provided,
As of yet?
I provided every council member and the mayor a copy of the correspondence.
Have you
Yeah.
seen that? That was
Yeah.
what you've talked to them about it,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think basically what Amy is saying, maybe the next council, we can have a Ways and Means and they can come in.
Yeah, I will make sure
With
that
bids
they can
and-
have it prepared by then, but I will certainly make that invitation tomorrow.
And if they need, I don't have a problem if they need another couple,
Yeah,
a month out or whatever.
I'll ask them.
I think ultimately, at the end of the day, nobody here is saying they don't want to support the services that are being provided. I think that we just need to do it in the most appropriate way. And this could possibly be that workaround, if you will, to supporting them, but also staying within our policies.
And I think too, like what Brandon said, I know he's been under a little bit of fire downtown with piles and moving piles and telling people it might not happen again. I've heard some kickback from that, but you can't do one and not do the other. So I think to take the pressure off of him, he's exactly right. We need to figure out what the appropriate manner is for this, because we all want to support the seniors 100%. It's a great facility, but you can't do one and not do the other.
Do it right?
I agree.
Where
I
we're
Do it the right way.
I
think
agree
we
with
have-
that
Also,
also.
we just
Keeping
need
this
to
going
figure out-
until a date, like you said. What do you have in your thinking?
We're not
April?
going, to if they're invited to come speak to you at this committee's direction and provide a report for your discussion, we are not going to do anything that would interrupt that before a decision is made.
As long as we can just let it roll till we figure it all out and then make a decision off of it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get a hold of them pretty quick then,
I-
so that they can,
I stated that I will be making the invitation tomorrow.
okay.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that the next date of the meeting works. If it doesn't, I'll work with them on the following.
Sounds like,
And they can get some bids from people on what snow removal will cost them and garbage will cost
Yeah,
them.
I'll provide that direction, that we're looking for bids for snow removal, snow hauling, and garbage collection for the council's consideration.
Okay,
Yeah.
very
thank you
good.
very much.
So, Your Honor?
It's a good. plan.
Yes, Wade.
Yeah, I'm the liaison there, so I mean, I've been talking with Rand Hughes, he is the president down there. And I told him that we would probably work out, a satisfactory result. And they are willing to come and meet anytime. They would have come tonight, but I told them I think the council would rather just discuss where they're at and what our options are first before we bring them in and try to come up with any results. So they know it's being talked about. Rand and any members of the board or whatever would be around and be available for the next, if you had it at the Ways and Means Committee meeting.
Thank you, Wayne.
I think we got a path.
Okay. I see Garrett came back. We were, congratulations to you, slipped out. But once again, congratulations. Welcome aboard. So, thank you. I guess we are adjourned. Thank you.
Impressive. That's awesome, Mark.
2:50.